Ladies and dudes who are feeling a bit down. Andy here, author of the best Tinder guide on the internet, and guy who's feeling a little bit down himself. This is the Kill You and a Loser show. Let's fucking go. So, I have no idea how this video is going to go, but you guys know I like to keep it pretty real. And if I'm honest, I think I've sort of buried my head in the sand and avoided what I'm about to say, but I've fallen into a little bit of a rut. I've fallen into a bit of a lull. I'm feeling a bit down. I've been feeling a bit, I'll say almost depressed over the last couple of maybe months, but especially the last couple of weeks, the last week or two. And I wanted to sit down and, I think for my own sake more than anything else, address the actual issue. And hopefully you guys will take from this, a bit of courage to speak up if you're feeling a bit down as well. So why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? Why am I not feeling like on top of the world, wonderful? Part of that is because, that's kind of how life can go sometimes, right? But the biggest part is that I just haven't been doing the things that make me happy. And that sounds so ridiculously simple to give that advice to other people, doesn't it? That's half of what my coaching is. It's like, bro, if you're unhappy, go to the gym, go hang out with your friends, go have goals, go do all this stuff. But from time to time, and plenty of my coaching clients do this too, and plenty of my friends do it too, so I try and be lenient with myself, but there are many times that I get so caught up in trying to be a good coach, or trying to be, for those of you who aren't doing coaching with me, trying to be a good, mentor to you guys, trying to be a good role model to you guys, that I do this like sacrificial, like martyr thing where I'm like, okay, I want to spend all my time on my coaching clients. And for the last 3 months, I've been super busy with coaching clients. It's like there was a long period of time there for, 3 or so months where I had like 7 coaching clients that I was working with. And for those of you who have done my coaching, I really do pour a lot into my coaching calls. They're usually like 3 hour. God, I had a 5 hour coaching call recently. I put a lot of time and effort in, right? And so it was taking time and effort, which I love doing. I love coaching, but I often fall into this trap where I neglect myself and I go, it's fine. I'll deal with that later. I will, hang out with my friends later. I'm busy for now, and then after my coaching calls, I'd be exhausted and I go, okay, I can't be bothered hanging out with friends. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it the next day. I put my meditation off and I'd go like, I'll kind of half-ass my meditation. I will rush through it. I put off my gratitude exercises and stuff like that I do. I'd be like, I'm going to do it because I want to tick the box, but I'm going to spend 2 minutes doing it, or 30 seconds, like 10 seconds. Here you go, done. Ticking a box rather than actually participating in like feeling grateful, feeling happy to be alive, remembering the things that I have achieved and that I'm proud of, and reminding myself that I'm on a mission. I think I've also lost track of a goal. I don't think I've had a goal for the last 3 months, and I've talked with many of you. I've talked with, my coaching clients. I've talked with you guys who are listening now about the importance of a goal. That if you don't have somewhere that you're sort of like going towards, or if you don't have something exciting that gets you up in the morning every day, even if that goal is something like, God, I just want to work on my mental happiness and well-being. Like even Buddhist monks have a goal. The people who've given up everything, they have a goal. Their goal is to become more enlightened. Their goal is to let go of attachment. Their goal is to be okay. They have a goal. And I think I've done the thing that I often fall, or every now and then I fall into this trap where I go, I'm going to put all my effort into my girlfriend, Imogen. I've put a lot of effort into helping her with her goals the last like 5 or so months. I put effort into my coaching clients. I've put less effort, into this YouTube channel. It's only recently that I've started doing more videos, but I put effort into like everyone else and everything else, but not myself. And it's very easy for me to do that and go, whoa, I've achieved a lot of the goals that I wanted. I've slept with like, fuck knows, like 200 and something women. I've had like 50 threesomes or something stupid at this point. I had that great month where I earned, 50,000 US dollars, which since then, full disclosure, I haven't had any coaching clients sign up since then because I stopped even doing that. I stopped doing any marketing. I stopped saying to anyone like, hey, coaching is available. I'd half-ass say it at the end of some of my videos. They'd be like, oh, by the way, if you want coaching, that's available. But I wasn't going all in. It wasn't my mission to build my coaching. And essentially what I'm getting to, the point that I'm getting to, is I kind of just let all my goals fall by the wayside. And I said, I've achieved the things I want to achieve. I can kind of neglect them, or I can get complacent, or I can get lazy. And I can just put all my effort into my coaching clients, which I still was doing a good job with my coaching clients. I was still busting my ass there, and busting my ass with my girlfriend. And everyone that I've mentioned this to, that I've said, like, I feel like I'm in a rut, they go like, oh, but you've still been doing a good job with your coaching though, dude. Like, I've mentioned it to a couple of my coaching clients, and they've said like, well, fuck, you could have fooled me. So I do this thing where I like self-sacrifice and tell myself that I am the least important person, that I'm the one that comes last, that I have to handle my coaching clients' lives first and improve them, and then my girlfriend and my family and my friends, and then I'm somewhere way down the pecking order. And it's funny because with any of my coaching clients, or with any of my friends, or any of you guys listening right now, I'm the first person to tell you all, put yourself first. Like, it's that saying, put on your oxygen mask before you help someone else with theirs. And yes, I'm a giant big hypocrite, but I often fall into a trap where I forget to give that advice to myself. And people will tell me, like Imogen, my girlfriend, has said many times recently, like, sweetie, like, are you okay? Like, do you want to talk about your stuff? And I'm just like, no, I'm good. Everything's good. And I've even had a couple of my friends, shout out to my friend Cam, who has asked me probably like fucking 5 or 10 times in the last couple of months, like, hey, bro, how's everything with you? Are you okay, man? Like, haven't heard much from you. Is everything good? And dude, Cam, if you're listening, I really appreciate that. And I've had a couple of other friends do the same, where they're like, how's things with you, man? And I'm like, yep, everything's hunky-dory. I'm all good. Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm fulfilling my obligations to other people, and I do this thing I sometimes do this thing, which I have told many of you off for, where I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be a burden to other people. So someone will say, how's it going, Andy? Is everything good? And I'll just be like, yep, it's great, buddy. Because I'm afraid, I guess is the right way of saying it, of putting my shit on them. And I think sometimes I see myself as, not that I'm wildly popular or something, but I'm the figurehead of this community, aren't I? This is the Kill You're in a Loser community. My forums are the Kill You're in a Loser forums. My coaching is the Kill You're in a Loser coaching. This YouTube channel, the point is it's my community. And so I often put this insane pressure on myself where I don't treat you guys like you're on the same team as me. Or like I see myself as like I have to be above you guys, and I have to like have my shit together all the time, constantly, because you guys are looking up to me, and you guys, want to, and I tell myself these fucking stories of like, you guys want to look up to someone who has his shit together and everything's perfect. And it's like, I don't think that's true. The content creators that I follow, the people that inspire me the most, are the ones that are raw and honest and real. And if they're having a shit day, they say, yo, I'm kind of having a shit day. Here's what I'm going to do about it. Here's how I'm going to fix it. And part of that solution is me doing this video. I walked around today doing some like meditating and some letting go. And it kind of came to me. I was like, I haven't been very honest with my audience. I haven't been honest with you guys. Like, I've kind of just been telling them that, like, pretending everything's okay. Like, I need to sit down and actually tell them the truth. And it's somewhat weird looking into a camera. It's like this big fucking lens that's in front of me. But I do feel like I'm talking to you guys. It's a parasocial relationship, of course. You guys don't really get to talk back, although you do in the comments, and I appreciate the comments. But it still feels nice to know that, like, people give a shit. It feels nice to know that you guys give a shit. And I think I just haven't been honest for the last, 4 or 5 months at this point. I've been trying to, put everyone else first except myself. And so part of the reason why I'm sitting down to do this is obviously so I can address the problem. I already have put some things in place, and I'll talk about them in a second. But another part of the reason that I'm doing this is to give you guys sort of, not like a wake-up call. I mean, maybe some of you need a wake-up call, but just a heads up that if you put other people first, and if you never put yourself first, you can sometimes fall into this feeling of I don't matter, or I matter the least, and then depression can often creep in. you go a couple of months of that, of you not putting yourself first. And I really haven't. I've sort of stopped hanging out with my friends. I have been going to the gym, but half-assing it. I have not stuck to my calories. So I've like overeaten junk food, like basically every day. I had 2 relapses of porn recently, which I'm not too bummed about. And I'm going to do an update video on my porn and addictions. 2 is okay. I'm okay with 2. That's like 2 relapses in like 5 or 6 months. So I'm not too bummed about that. But, the point is I've been self-medicating, or I've been very tempted to self-medicate. Maybe sometimes I haven't given into it, but it's been a really strong urge. And I want to remind you guys that, again, put yourself first. You're not being, and I'm saying this as much to myself as you guys, you're not being a burden if you ask other people for help. I reached out to a couple of my friends today, and I basically just said, like, hey, I'm stressed about some shit. I'm stressed about some money stuff. There's another thing that I haven't been fully... I haven't lied, I just haven't said it. I owe a lot of fucking money of tax, obviously. Like, I owe $100,000 of tax. And so, yes, great, I can pay that off over the next couple of years. That's kind of the point. But, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And I think sometimes I try and put up this, and maybe it's just everyone who does some sort of like content creation, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to put the best side of you out there. You don't want to drag other people down by being overly negative or complaining about problems and, all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. That's reasonable. But sometimes you fall into this trap of just like not sharing anything and then getting to a point where you're like, I'm perfect and everything's wonderful. And look, I earned $50,000 this month. Isn't that great? And you sort of almost tell yourself that your own challenges or things that you want to solve, your own hurdles to overcome, you're almost telling yourself that those don't matter. Because you go, yeah, but my clients are like virgins and some of them are super depressed and, some of them, have no money and some of them have no friends. Like their problems are way worse than mine. Like, and I do this comparison thing. It's very tempting to do this comparison where you go, man, Andy, if you're depressed, like you got nothing to complain about, son. Like you have an amazing sex life. Your girlfriend adores the shit out of you. And I'm so grateful for those things. Yes, fine. You technically don't have any money. If I have that much debt, right? I don't have any money, but you have a coaching business. If you put some fucking effort in, man, you can make $50,000 a month. You've done it, and I've had plenty of months where it's like $30,000 a month. So I can absolutely make money if I put effort in. And I sort of put this pressure on myself and almost tell myself like, you're not allowed to have problems because other people's problems are worse off than yours. And I've said this a million times, man, like your journey is your own journey. And if something is a challenge for you or if something bothers you, if there's something you're trying to overcome, then hey, man, like put all focus on that, put all effort into that. I will absolutely support you on that. Like, don't ever think that your problems are, ridiculous or insignificant just because maybe someone else has a problem that's more severe or something. But yeah, I don't give myself that same like leeway. It's funny how arrogant I am. And I try not to be. I really do genuinely try and be as humble as I can. But we're all privy to arrogance at some points, right? And it's funny how arrogant I can be while simultaneously telling other people, hey man, like don't be arrogant. Like, don't sit there and say that you're too special for help. Don't sit there and say that you're not allowed to ask other people for assistance. And yet I do the same thing myself. I say like, yeah, but I'm the head of the community, so I have to always have my shit together, and I'm never allowed to ask for help, and I have to just, like, ignore my problems. And the funny thing is, like, all of you listening would go, and my girlfriend has said the same thing, and some of my friends, it's like, bro, why the fuck are you ignoring your problems? We don't want you to ignore your problems, dickhead. We need you to keep your shit together. Not keep your shit together, but we need you to solve your own problems, so then you can help us. How are you going to help us if you're fucking unhappy, dickhead? If you're not going to the gym and not seeing your friends and telling yourself your problems don't matter, and you're not solving them, bro, how does that put you in a good position to help us? So, yeah, it's funny how sometimes the hardest advice to take is our own, and the things that we tell other, clients or people in the community or whatever, the things we tell others to do is somehow the hardest for us to do. Or sometimes it's the hardest for us to do. So, in terms of what I'm doing about it, I'm going to the gym now. I have reached out to basically all of my friends and said like, dudes, I'm stressed about, a bunch of shit here. I've basically been neglecting the things that make me happy. Can you keep me accountable? I'm going to start fixing these things. Let's go. I've reached out to, family. I've told my girlfriend. I feel like really more than anything, the point of this podcast was to keep myself accountable, but more than that, to show you guys that it's okay if you struggle sometimes too. I still do. Like, we are just humans, right? You're not supposed... Okay. Maybe one day you're at a point where you're just zen and beautiful, and I'm definitely getting closer to that point. I definitely have a lot less of these sort of moments. And even when I do have these moments, I mean, if this is my rut, Jesus fucking Christ, this is a pretty good rut. Because especially for the last 3 weeks, I've basically done 2 podcasts every single day. You know, I've done 1 YouTube video and 1 Spotify podcast every single day. I'm writing articles. I've started the BDSM course that I'm doing. I'm doing a paid video course on how to get started with BDSM. I've been pretty fucking productive. So for someone in a rut, this isn't that bad. This is pretty fucking good. And that's kind of the point here. Is like, over time, you get better at pulling yourself out of a rut, which is what this is. You get better at recognizing one. And even when you're in one, life is way better than it used to be. Like, my depressions and my ruts, like when I was in my 20s, god damn, I was literally like, I've told this before. I would like sit there and drink alcohol all day. I would look at porn for like 8 hours a day. I like lost my job because I was just so fucking depressed. I had 0 friends. Like, I just wasn't even going outside of the house. Like, compared to then, like, this isn't even a fucking rut. This is just like, oh, buddy, you stop doing the things that make you happy. Hurry up and go do them again. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if any of you out there are feeling a little depressed, or you're feeling like you're lost, or you feel directionless. I don't feel fully depressed right now. I'd say I feel directionless. I feel like I woke up this morning. This morning was the first day I felt like this in probably years, where I woke up and I was like, why am I getting out of bed? And as soon as I had that thought, I was like, oh, fuck me, I need to address this. What is this? Why am I thinking like I don't want to get out of bed? And more than anything, it's because I haven't been doing the things that make me happy, but I also haven't had any direction. I haven't had any goals. I haven't had anything I care about. So in terms of goals now, my main goal is to earn what I was earning before. So I'm going to aim for, God, I don't know. I said this morning, $10,000 a month as a decent starting point, but I think I would like to shoot for 15 or 20. I will go away and think about that. Obviously, I'm doing this podcast off the cuff. So maybe 15K a month US, that would be more than enough to pay off the tax debts that I owe, and more than enough to pay bills. And, it's obviously like quite a bit of money. So I'd like to set that as the first goal. I'm going to keep going to the gym, like make that consistent. And then more than that, yeah, I feel like that's a decent starting point. That as a goal, I will sit down and come up with some actual tangible goals to work towards in the future. And that's what I'm going to say to you guys. If you're feeling a bit like lost, you're feeling like you're in a bit of a rut or something, sit down and come up with some goals, some tangible goals. If you can't even do that, reach out for help. You're welcome to leave a comment on this video. I will read them all. I'll reply to all of them. If you want coaching, there's that. If you are completely lost as to who to turn to, go on our forums. Everyone on there is super welcoming, super lovely. Jump on there and say, hey, I'm feeling a bit like I'm in a rut, or I'm feeling like I'm lost. I don't know what my goal should be. Reach out to friends or family, but don't do what I've just done for the last couple of months and tell yourself like, oh, my problems aren't that important. Like, other people have it worse, which is what I've said, or I've sort of just even ignored it. It's not that I've said like my problems don't matter. It's more that I've just pushed them aside and said like, no, go away. Like, I have to solve my clients' problems, and I have to solve my girlfriend's problems. And I just haven't taken the time to focus on myself. So all of this is a way of saying, don't neglect yourself. Don't neglect your own goals. Don't neglect your own self-improvement, and don't neglect your own mission. Make sure you have a mission, some sort of goal that you're working towards. I need to take that advice myself, and I'm going to go away from this and come up with an actual goal. But for now, $15,000 a month sounds pretty reasonable, and have something that you're working on. Yeah. Obviously, reach out to other people if you need it. I'm here for coaching, or you can leave a comment in the comment section and I'll reply. The other people will reply as well. Go on the forums. Yeah, don't do this alone, guys. So I hope this podcast was useful. It definitely was for me. I hope it was for you guys as well. Again, the point was to show you that, like, I think there's this idea in any self-improvement, any sort of content creation really, but any self-improvement circle or community or whatever, you tend to look at the person whose community it is, or the person who's doing the content, and you have expectations of what their life must be, or who they must be, or how perfect it must be, or that they must always have their shit together. And then the problem with that is you can compare yourself to them. And you will always fall short because you go, man, I bet their life is perfect because all they're putting out and all I've put out for the last couple of months is like, everything's fine. And so you assume, man, their life is perfect. And you're acutely aware of all of the flaws, all of the insecurities, the doubts, maybe the sad days that you have, maybe the depressive moments. You're aware of all that in your own life. And so you say, this person looks like they have their shit together. He jumps on camera, once a week or a couple of times a week. Right now I'm doing way more content. So I'm doing like a video every day. He jumps on here, he's got his flashy little lights and his lighting setup looks nice and he seems relatively happy and he's giving me advice. Man, he must be in a really good position. Everything must be perfect. Why does my life suck? I wish I could be like him, but I can't because he's obviously better than me. I did a podcast recently called, and I did an article as well called, You Tell Yourself the Story of How I'm Better Than You. It's just a story. It's exactly that. It's a fabrication. But, you tell yourself this story of like the person that I'm watching must have their shit together. And I clearly don't because I'm aware of all my own flaws. So therefore, this content creator, this Andy guy, man, like I can never be like him. He has his shit together and I don't. And I see so many people like talk themselves out of self-improvement or talk themselves out of their goals or talk themselves out of meeting women or whatever it is because they look at the content creator or the person that they're following and they say, I could never stack up against that. I could never match up to that. That person is perfect. I'm not. That's why they have the cool life, and that's why I don't. And a big part of why I wanted to do this video was to just be real with you guys, like to be honest and say, please don't look at me and say everything's perfect all the time. Now, let's be clear. I'm really fucking grateful for my life. I'm not saying this is a sob story. I think you guys can tell that I haven't come on here speaking negatively or saying like, oh man, like, my life sucks. Like, no. Life is fantastic. It's just that I've forgotten to put myself first. I've neglected my own happiness for a little while there, and now we're getting back on track. But I really want to make it clear to you guys that, please don't compare yourself to the people that you look up to or the people that you respect or the people whose advice you follow. They're only going to show you, or for the most part, they're going to show you the best of themselves. Even I do that. I try and be real. This is what this video here today is. It's me being real and honest. But even then, I'm only going to show you the moments that I want to show you on camera, right? I'm not going to show you me sitting around on the couch fucking eating pizza and looking disgusting and, not doing anything. Like, I'm not going to show you the lowest moment, am I? Or if I have a day when I'm just feeling really bummed and grumpy and unhappy, and for the most part, I don't have a whole day like that. But if I have a couple of hours when it takes me a couple of hours to pull myself out of that and be more positive, I'm not going to show you that, am I? Because, like, what would you get out of that? You wouldn't get anything out of that. I'm going to show you the moments where, yeah, I'm being real like this, but I have a takeaway point. I have a point that I'm trying to get across to you. So, yeah, even with someone that's keeping it real and honest, you're still getting the best moments that they choose to show you. They're still choosing to show you which raw moments. So please don't compare yourself to someone who you don't know. Like, at the end of the day, as much as you've seen my content, you don't know me. You know the YouTube version of me. You know the podcast version of me, but you do not know me. And I've had this discussion with other content creators as well. Even people that I've done podcasts with and collaborations with, who they are on camera when we're live, as soon as we hit the button and say, okay, stop, and then we start talking, just the two of us, like not live and not recorded and not as part of the content, they completely and utterly fucking change. And they're just more real and honest and raw. And me too. I'm completely different too. Half of my recent interviews that I've done with coaching clients, the really long interviews where I sit down and talk to them, after the interview is done, I hit stop recording, and then most of the time I end up still talking to them for a little bit longer. Like one of the guys I talked to for about another hour after we, hit stop recording. And the way we both were after that is radically different from how we were on camera. And like we'd just been talking for several hours, and then we immediately change as soon as we go, off broadcast. And so the point that I'm getting to in a roundabout way is, don't look at YouTubers, don't look at me, don't look at anyone that you look up to, don't read any authors, don't listen to podcasts and assume that like, oh, this is how that person must be, and therefore if I'm not matching up to that perfect version of themselves that they show, or like, pretty good near perfect version, then there must be something wrong with me. It's like, no, you just haven't given your best version. You haven't carefully curated because you're aware of everything inside yourself, all of the flaws, all of the insecurities, all of the uncertainty and all that shit. And you're not seeing that in them. So I think I've made that point. I am really, really, really grateful to you guys. I don't think I've said that in such a really long time, which is pretty crazy to think about. I don't think I've been grateful for you guys. Like, I don't think I'm grateful, but I don't think I've sat down and actually said, I'm really fucking grateful for you guys. I am grateful for every single one of you who listens. We're at a point now where, man, like half the videos on this channel do pretty fucking well. It's actually surprisingly impressive. Like, pretty often I can get a video to hit 1,000 views now, which is like pretty fucking cool. Because back in the day, the idea of a video getting 1,000 views like blew my freaking mind. Like a video that got 100 views, I was like, oh my God, we've killed it. Like the algorithms have blessed us. We have like 100 views. Whereas now it's like, I don't think there is a video on my channel that's got 100 views within the last like year or two. Like fuck no. Like no, not even close to it. Way more than that. So I'm really grateful for you guys. Not that views are the only thing that matter, but I think more than anything what I'm grateful for is all of you who have moments of doubt or insecurity or fears or uncertainties. And some of you, God, especially like some of the coaching clients that I've gotten to know, because I can obviously get to know a coaching client a lot more personably because we literally talk. Some of you have gone through some fucking crazy shit. And I see all of your doubts and insecurities and fears. And, you know, even those of you in the comments section, it's like, you guys go through some wild shit. Some shit that like I don't even know if I would have had the courage to face. And I'm really proud of you. I'm really impressed by all of you. I'm really grateful and I really admire all of you. I've said this before. I admire anyone that works on their goals. It doesn't matter like what the goal is or how courageous or uncourageous they are. As long as they're working on a goal, I admire the shit out of that. And I think we have one of the best communities in terms of like engagement. What I mean by engagement is like people who follow the content actually then going outside and taking action or going and working on a business or going and making some friends or talking to women or improving themselves or hitting the gym. I think we have one of the highest like action to watch ratios, like how many people watch it versus how many people take action, especially on the forums, man. Jesus Christ. Like there's like 1,700 people on the forums and like almost all of them take action. Like it's so goddamn impressive. So I'm really fucking impressed by you guys. I'm really grateful. I know I haven't said that in quite a long time, but I am really, really grateful. If you've watched to this point of the video, I am really grateful. 27 minutes in. Thank you for listening to me ramble. If you're depressed yourself, please reach out. You know, leave a comment. If you want some coaching, that's there. If you just want to go on the forums and talk there, everyone is welcoming. But please don't do this by yourself. I'm saying that to myself as much as you guys. As always, go out there and crush your goals. And I tell you what, I promise you I will crush mine as well. And I'll stop neglecting them, and I'll put myself first.